Today was the first day of the Battlefield 2042 technical playtest, and this was like a gameplay session. You had to be invited to it, but of course we got some leaks. And there was sort of 11 minutes of leaked gameplay at the time that I'm making this video. And I wanted to go through some of the things that I picked up from there. I'm just going to post some screenshots. I'm not going to post the whole gameplay. So let's get into it. So first of all, the leak featured a bit of tank gameplay, so we could see some of the tank UI. And two things that stood out to me were that on the bottom of the screen, there's a detailed tank model, which is something that we didn't have in other Battlefield games. And it leads me to believe that vehicles will have like more complex damage models. So you might be able to shoot the engine of a tank or damage the turret or something like that. And also in the bottom of the screen, on the bottom right, we can see that the tank has unlimited ammo, but there's a limited special ammo slot. And from the icon, it seems that the player has 4 rounds of APF SDS ammo, which, if you don't know, stands for Armor Piercing, Fin Stabilized, Discarding Sabo. And it's a solid metal flechette that is designed to it's designed to be really good at, it doesn't explode, but it's designed to be really good at piercing armor. So what this means is that it'll probably be a special round that does extra damage to tanks and doesn't explode, so it doesn't harm infantry as much. And it seems like in the gameplay, the guy who was driving the tank took out an enemy tank with only 1 shot. It might have been damaged before, but you know, that's the purpose of this ammo. So yeah, unlimited ammo on tanks. Then we got a brief look at the player shooting at some people from the top of a building. And what I just wanted to point out from here is that I think the sights look pretty good. I would have preferred if the background didn't zoom in with the optic, if it were kind of like something like what they do in Insurgency. But I'm happy with the look of the optic itself, and especially the little vignette that they put in there looks really cool and realistic. And it's also cool to see that a little compass pops up. You can see it there, a little compass pops up when you aim down sights, and it shows your view heading in degrees, affixed with also a cardinal direction, which is perfect for tactical communications like squad-based gameplay and stuff like that. Next up, we got our first look at the AK assault rifle. It's called the AK-24 in-game, and it's fitted here. The player picked it up off the ground, and it's fitted with a hammer sight, so the dual sight, which we also saw in Call of Duty. And it has a suppressor, I think, and a drum magazine. So there are some lights on the Picatinny rail there, but I'm not sure if these follow any purpose or if they're just for appearance. It could be to show that it's a powered rail, so it could be an ammo counter, possibly, or a battery counter, which for me is more interesting if, for example, there's thermal optics that drain the weapon battery. This could be a pretty useful way to counter thermals, because thermals were pretty overpowered in like Battlefield 4. You could just put a thermal in your gun and look around and shoot at the white dots, because all the players would be the only thing that lights up. Anyway, particularly I'm excited to use this weapon because I like the higher caliber guns, but the M5 looks pretty good, and it'll also be shooting various types of ammo, so there will be something for everyone. Speaking of the M5, which seems to be modeled after the SIG MCX Spear, which is a competitor, you know, the US Army is currently having these trials to choose their next battle rifle. We can see that the silencers will take a barrel slot. So it takes us away. So you can't have, for example, like an extended barrel and a silencer. So that takes us a bit from the Call of Duty current style of like weapon building, which in my opinion is a great thing. And the important thing here is that as the player scrolls through the options, we see some ammo types, which are regular, light, and heavy ammo options, which is cool that you can adapt your gun to sort of what range you're fighting in. And I've seen quite a few people complaining about this, but personally, I think it's a good idea because it allows you to adapt to your current situation. So For example, I think in a game like Call of Duty, it would be a bad idea. But in this Battlefield game, with the maps being so big, it's useful to adapt. In older Battlefield games back in the day, I remember killing myself on purpose sometimes just so that I could spawn in with a gun that was more suitable to the situation. So this sort of means you'll have like longer um, lives basically in the game where you'll be more adaptable. We also saw the K30 SMG, which is modeled after the Vector, once again showing heavy, medium, and light ammunition options. But the takeaway is that the medium option was an extended mag. So it's important to note that these aren't the only attachments the gun has. I think in the main menu, you'll be able to pick 3 attachments to be in your quick change or whatever it's called slots. So it's not like you'll have full customizability on the fly. You'll have to pick sort of your options. And in that gun, for a barrel option, we had a compensator and a suppressor. And the gun blazed through a magazine of heavy ammo in just like a couple of seconds and actually killed the player quite quickly. So it seems to be that if you can make your guns to adapt to your playstyle, for example, if you're losing often to someone with this gun, like a Vector or a K30 with heavy ammo, maybe you can build your guns to adapt to your playstyle so that you can counter those people, from a distance, or if you want to go up close, just spawn in with a shotgun. We got a little look at all the weapons that were in the playtest, so obviously not all the weapons in the game. And we had an M5 and the AK-24 assault rifles, so that's firing 6.8 and 7.62, I believe, in the standard configurations. That'll be your Russian and your US weapons, so it looks like you can pick guns from both sides. It's not like faction dependent. Then we got the PBX45 SMG, which looks like a UMP45, or a Striker 45 if you play Call of Duty, which you shouldn't be doing because Call of Duty sucks. The K30 Vector, which we talked about. And then for the LMG, we had something called the LCMG. It seems to be the Knights Armament Company machine gun, or the Finn LMG in Call of Duty again. For DMRs, we only saw the DM7 DMR, which seems to be like an AR-10 or SR-25 based marksman rifle, so semi-automatic. And then we got the SWS-10 bolt-action sniper, which I don't know a lot about, but I'm guessing it'll have like variable calibers and stuff like that. And we also got a shotgun. All the weapons there, I'm excited to try. Mostly the M5 with that 6.8 ammunition. Just because I'm interested in the whole project that they're doing in real life right now. And in the video, the gun sounded really good and quite well animated, which always makes me happy. We got shown a list of the vehicles. So there wasn't much to see there except for this mini tank looking vehicle with a gun on top. I've seen that in real life. So it seems to be like just a somewhat fragile but very agile mini tank with a heavy machine gun on the top. We saw this little light truck thing, which looks really cool too. And the important thing here, or the thing that I sort of caught my eye, was the EBAA, which it's a light vehicle, not a light vehicle, it's a light tank basically. But it has a really high fire rate pair of autocannons, and it functions, from what I've seen, like a mobile anti-aircraft gun. And it looks awesome. It looks like 2 miniguns shooting at the same time with explosive rounds. And on the top of it is a turret so that another player can sit in there and play sort of an anti-infantry role while you shoot at planes. But I imagine that the main role, while you can shoot everything with the main gun of this sort of vehicle, the main role will be anti-air. So I'm guessing that the damage to tanks will be much lower with those high fire rate sort of anti-air guns. Then there's the Osprey, which we've seen before. Well, I'm not sure what it's actually called in game. An F-22 fighter, which I'm guessing has VTOL capabilities. Little Bird helicopter, and what looks like an Apache. So I've got my doubts that they'll still be using the Apache in 20 years. So let's see how they'll, modernize it. Cool selection for this map. Not the whole selection of the game, I'm sure. I'm excited to see the Mi-24 helicopter, which is like fucking indestructible. And it will be super cool to fly with friends. Anyway, lastly, we got to look at the shotgun attachments for this pump action shotgun. And I just wanted to point out the ammo types. So we got flechette rounds, which in real life are used to pierce body armor. And so I'm guessing, it's like little arrows and they pierce body armor, but they deal less damage to flesh. Maybe in this game, it'll be like a longer range option that does less damage up close. We also got normal buckshot and we got slugs. The shotgun silencers are also a thing in this game, and the wide availability of silencers, like in every gun that we saw, leads me to question whether or not people will show up in the minimap, even when they shoot. However, in the gameplay, the gameplay was really low resolution, but it did not look like people appeared on the minimap when they shot. So I'm not sure what purpose the silencers will play. Maybe they'll balance that out to like a few specialists can see you shooting and a few can't. We'll have to wait and see. So yeah, that was all that stood out for me in the trailer. Thanks for checking out the content and stay tuned for, beta gameplay and everything else. See ya.